Hey everybody, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. We are in the middle of cleaning the fish room. That's why the tank behind me is half empty. There's a bunch of tanks over here that are half empty as well. And it got us thinking about some surprisingly messy fish. We've got 7 of them for you today. And we're going to talk about which ones, if you like a clean tank, that might make that a little bit harder. All right, I'm going to go first. Number 1, this is a popular one, and that is the goldfish. Your standard goldfish, they do sometimes create a mess. They stir up a lot of stuff in the substrate, which can sometimes wind up in the water column. They're constantly sifting through sand or gravel or pebbles or whatever, and they seem to create a little bit more waste relative to their body size and other sorts of fish. I don't necessarily know if that's true, but they definitely are a little bit on the messier side. I remember when we had them in our 40-gallon breeder, those sponge filters definitely got a little bit more dirty. All right, what do you got?
One of my favorite all-time fish, but they are little messy fish. Pea puffers. Especially if you have any snails. If you did have any snails in your tank, they will probably want to eat them, and they do not clean up after themselves.
No, and it's very common to see little pieces of snail shell and all kinds of stuff just laying all over the substrate, and that can be kind of a pain to clean up. But yeah, they can be a little bit messy. All right, number 3, and this is a fish we have not kept in or I haven't kept in a very, very long time, and that is the piranha. If you've never had them before and are considering them, just know that they can be relatively messy fish because of the way they eat. They generally don't eat like other fish that, if they're going to be eating live foods that swallow the fish whole. These guys tend to want to chew their food, and that can create a little bit of a mess, foul up the water a little bit. So it's just something you're going to want to consider before you make that investment or purchase. All right, what you got? Number 4.
Another one, this fish I absolutely love, but when you put them in a tank all by themselves, it's a real big pig pen tank. The pleco.
The Bristlenose Pleco. Yeah, it can be a messy fish. What you're really doing with a Bristlenose Pleco, when you think about it, is they're going to scavenge, they're going to eat some uneaten food, they're certainly going to take care of many different types of algae, but essentially what they do is they convert that algae to fish waste, and I guess it's a little bit easier to clean up the fish waste compared to trying to scrape algae off of stuff. So it's still kind of a win, but they are surprisingly messy. Now, my number 5 is a little bit of a different fish, and that is the Tinfoil Bar. These guys can also be rather messy when it comes to eating. They're extremely active, and there's just something about them when they eat. A lot of times some of the food just kind of shoots out their gills a little bit, or they'll spit some stuff out, and they just go a little bit crazy, so they can be a little bit messier than other fish their size.
All right, my next choice is, it's kind of a given, it's not a fish, but it's the mystery snail. They cause a lot of waste. So if you have a tank, especially with multiple mystery snails, you're gonna have to put your little cleaning hat on and do some extra cleanup in that tank.
And that can be really pronounced. We have our mystery snail breeding tank, and the boys, they don't really like cleaning that one because they do produce a lot of waste, just like the Bristlenose Pleco. They're basically converting algae and uneaten food to a whole bunch of fish waste. So again, that's certainly an advantage, but just know that they are not fish that eat, or not organisms that eat fish waste. They actually produce quite a bit. Now, my last one, this is more, we could have made this list like infinity.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you one example, and then just know this is the same for pretty much every fish in the category, and that is the Oscar, i.e. the relatively large or medium to large size South and Central American cichlid. They can be quite messy, not only because they are big eaters, but they just love to make the tank their own. And so they're going to move substrate around, they're going to uproot plastic plants, live plants, knock over decorations, knock the intakes off of filters. Sometimes they'll break a heater or knock one off. They do a lot of interesting things. So Oscars in particular, but definitely anything like them. So Midas cichlids, Red Devil cichlids, Green Terrors, Texas cichlids, big convicts, you name it. These are generally going to be messy fish that love to dig, love to stir stuff up in your tank. And if you are one of those people who love a pristine looking tank, these large South and Central American cichlids may not be for you. So would love to hear from you down in the comments section below. Do you have any fish that you think should have made the list? Fish that have been really messy for you? Leave that in the comments section below. Look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Have a good one.